We're not here by accident. We're here to stay forever. We're not here by accident. We're here to stay forever. We're here to stay forever.
Welcome back to Rodecast, guys. Hope you're doing well out there. I'm your host, Rod, as always. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Trump's announcement on social media that he will be terminating TPS for Somalis in Minnesota. Now, I want to talk about that particular announcement because there are problems with the way he did it and what he's saying. And we're also going to be looking at Somalis who are whining and complaining about this, specifically one guy who literally said on the camera that we are here to stay forever. Okay, so that guy basically confirming everything I tell you guys. Once you let these people in, they never want to leave. And he's literally saying that he's never leaving. This is what happens when world-loving people try to help out the world by doing humanitarian acts. And then the third worlders, after you let them in here, they never want to leave. Okay, it's not temporary protected status. It's permanent protective status as far as they're concerned. Okay, they never want to leave.
Reaction is pouring in from across the state, from leaders and community members after President Trump announced he's terminating the temporary protected status for Somali Minnesotans. Here's a look at that announcement made on Truth Social late last night. The president accused Minnesota of being a hub of fraudulent money laundering activity, and he alleged Somali gangs are terrorizing people in the state. The president's announcement came without advance notice or other policy details. And as of tonight, the Department of Homeland Security has not released formal guidance on how or when the termination will be implemented.
So that's my problem with it, okay? He didn't even have the decency to let Kristi Noem know about this before doing it, okay? The problem with this tweet is that, first of all, you cannot just terminate it for one state. There are two ways to do the termination TPS, okay? You can revoke it on an individual basis, basically telling people, sending them notice saying that your TPS has been terminated on whatever grounds. And the other one is to do it as a class, meaning just terminating the TPS for Somalia altogether so that all will be terminated. You can't just do it for Minnesota. So the way he announced this, he didn't talk to anybody before doing this, okay? Maybe he did, but not a lawyer, okay? Not anybody who knows the law. And of course, the main problem is he's not the one legally responsible for terminating these programs. It is the head of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, who has the legal authority to terminate TPS. It's not the president. Okay, so if you care about the law, which I do, certainly. So this is one of the problems with Trump. He doesn't even consult with his own people before dropping bombs on them. Okay, I'm sure if you had a conversation with Kristi Noem, she would have announced it herself, given that she's the one who is responsible for doing this stuff. Okay, when they revoked TPS for Venezuelans and El Salvadorians and Cubans and all that stuff earlier this year, guess who did it? Not Trump. Okay, it was Kristi Noem who announced it because she is the one who has the legal authority to terminate TPS because she is the head of Homeland Security. That's under her responsibilities. This guy did it on a Friday night without even talking to her. Kristi Noem was asked questions about it after his announcement, and here's the answer that she gave, because clearly he didn't even talk to her before doing this. So this is all she could say.
Secretary Noem, do you plan to terminate that temporary protected status designation for Somalia, and on what basis?
We plan to follow the process that's in law to evaluate TPS. It was always meant to be put in place after an incident or an event on a temporary basis, and that's what the evaluation will be.
So this program has been active, for anyone who doesn't know, since the time of George H.W. Bush. Okay, literally more than 30 years. The ridiculousness of these TPS programs, man. Somalia is never going to be fixed. Okay, they've had more than 30 years to fix themselves, and guess what? It's still a crap hole, and we should not be responsible for trying to help these third worlders who are horrible people with backwards cultures by bringing them into our culture. Okay, this is once again more white guilt on the part of George H.W. Bush trying to help a bunch of loser Africans because of his white guilt over what his ancestors did. Being an English guy, for Anglo-Saxon, they have the most amount of white guilt because, they feel responsible for slavery. So we got to help a bunch of Africans when they're in trouble. But the problem is these Africans are always in trouble. Somalia has never had any peace. Okay, they've always been falling apart somehow economically, natural disasters, wars, all kinds of tribal warfare. They're never at peace. So if this was the case, right? This is the case with all these countries: Haiti, Somalia, El Salvador. All these countries are always in flux. They always have some kind of disaster. And somehow America and Europe is supposed to help these countries. Same thing with Middle Eastern countries. They're always killing each other. And somehow we are the ones who are responsible for helping these people. We got to shut down all these programs because they're ridiculous. Okay. They prioritize foreigners over actual Americans. And now entire cities have been taken over by these people after they come to America. And it's horrible. Okay, we need to stop all this TPS BS and revoke all these programs. My other question for Trump is, why did you not do this earlier when you did it for the other countries? Or when he definitely talked to Kristi Noem about doing it for El Salvador and for Cuba and Venezuela, right? Because that was done earlier this year. It went up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of the administration of DHS and ruled that Kristi Noem can indeed do it. And of course, she can do it when it comes to this, and most likely she will. There's no reason not to. This program has been active for way too long. Forgetting about Trump, if you just evaluate it by itself, it's time to get rid of this, okay? And Kristi Noem believes in the mission of getting rid of these foreigners as well. She's not going to say that outright, but, I suspect that's how she feels. She feels a lot like I do. But nevertheless, regardless, the point is this program has outlived its usefulness. It's time to cut the cord and not let any more of these people into our country. Because after they come in, they never want to leave. It's not temporary in their minds. It's a permanent vacation forever. And they're literally refusing to leave.
Meantime, many Somalis gathered in Minneapolis today to publicly voice their opposition. Fox 9's Leon Purvis joining us tonight from Minneapolis. And Leon, what are they saying about the president's proposal?
Well, Kelsey, many people gathered at Carmel Mall, the heart of the Somali community, to support one another.
Manta, 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 Omani waiting, manta, 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 Omani waiting, manta.
Carmel Mall was packed on the fourth floor with people from the Somali community and people coming out in support. On Friday, President Trump said that he would immediately terminate temporary deportation protections from Somalis living in Minnesota, blaming them for fraud in Minnesota.
So that's another thing. You don't have to make up all this crap about there being fraud and there's crime, blah, blah, blah. All you have to say is, hey, they're Somalis. They belong in Somalia. We don't want them here. And they're gone. Okay, that's all you need to say. Even if this fraud, money laundering crap is true, which it could be. There are a lot of criminals who are immigrants, I'm sure, but I haven't seen any DOJ charges on that, so I don't even know if that's true. But let's say it is. I don't really care if they're doing money laundering or not. I don't care if they're the best people in the world. They're Somalis. They belong in Somalia, and they need to get the hell out of here. Okay, that's my position. And that's all you have to say if you're a principled person who cares about America. If you're a nationalist, that's all you have to say. These people don't belong here. Okay, they could be the best people in the world, but their problem is they're not descended from the people who built this country. And because of that, they have no right to be here. Okay, but nevertheless, if you let them in, the attitude that the next guy you're going to see here, that's the attitude that they have after they come here.
We're not here by accident. We're here to stay forever.
Look at this boy. This ugly, disgusting little creep. He's pretending like him or his ancestors had anything to do with building America. He's pretending like he's related to George Washington, because somebody who's related to George Washington, they can say what he just said. We're here. This is not an accident. We're here to stay forever. That's the kind of thing you would say if you're descended from the founding generation. Okay, which I am, by the way, actually earlier than that. The founding generation existed in the 17 and 1800s. My ancestors came here in the 1600s. So, yeah, I am one of the foundational people, and I do have a right to say what he said, but he is a freaking clown who was brought here literally less than 50 years ago, and he thinks he has a right to stay forever. This is why we don't let any of these people in. They're horrible and entitled and uppity beyond belief. Okay, that's why you never let any of these disgusting people in from the third world.
Minnesota.
We're not here by accident. We're here to stay forever.
That's more entitlement, or that's equal amount of entitlement as the Mexicans have. That they think the same way. Okay, this cretin here, this vile, disgusting cretin over here, he has the same attitude that the Mexicans do. They They think they're here to stay forever as well, and we need to drag them out of here as well.
In Minnesota,
We're not here by accident. We're here to stay forever.
there are currently 500 Somalis.
We're going to drag you out screaming, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. You can gather and have all the gatherings you want. You're still a piece of garbage, and you will never belong in America because you're the wrong blood.
We're not here by accident. We're here to stay forever.
There are currently 500 Somalis in Minnesota living with these protections and a total of 700 nationwide. Many expect this to be challenged in court, but in the meantime, Somalis here say they are fearful of what's to come.
Yeah, so whatever challenges come in court, they're going to lose. The Somalis are going to lose because the executive branch controls this particular policy. TPS can be put in place and revoked by the executive branch, specifically the Secretary of Homeland Security. That's Kristi Noem. She's the one who has the authority. The Supreme Court will back her claim if she decides to revoke this, which I believe she will after Trump talks to her. I just wish that Trump wouldn't go over the heads of the people who are actually in charge of doing this stuff and would talk to them first. He didn't even talk to her before announcing this. So that's very disrespectful to not discuss this with your own people before doing it. But anyways, she will most likely terminate it because it makes all the sense in the world.
People are always going to be fearful, but we're telling our people we're greater than their fear. We have resilience. We're people that are brave.
When temporary...
Now, yeah, okay, Muhammad, you can believe whatever you want. You can tell yourself whatever you want. You actually have no power. Okay, all the power is in Kristi Noem's hands, and she's not on your side.
We're telling our people we're greater than their fear. We have resilience. We're people that are brave.
When temporary status is revoked, federal law states it can't take effect earlier than 60 days after publication of that notice, and it has to come from the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem.
What the president is doing is un-American. It is not Minnesotan.
So I love it when foreigners tell us about what is American and what is not. Okay, this is another way that they're uppity. Okay, this African Muslim is telling me about what being American is. A guy whose ancestors literally built this country. Okay, this is the level of entitlement, uppityness that these people have. They want to tell us about what's American. Okay, and yeah, so this is why we can't have these people here, man. Okay, and Kristi Noem really needs to get rid of this program.
American, it is not Minnesotan.
The Protected Status Program for Somalis was launched in 1991 by President George H.W. Bush. It grants protections to eligible people who can't return to their homeland safely due to civil war or natural disasters.
What we decided to do is to bring our community in the heart of in the Somali community here in Minnesota, which is Carmel Mall, to show that, you know, our neighbors are with us, Minnesotans are with us, and we're all together in this fight.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many of your bleeding heart, white, guilt-ridden neighbors are with you. The only person who matters in this case is Kristi Noem, and she is not with you. I can guarantee you that. After she sees how arrogant you are, after she sees news clips like this, she's not going to be on your side. Okay? People like you are disgusting, Mohammed. And no matter how many white people who hate themselves come to support you, most of America does not support you being here. Okay. And I have problems with what Trump did here than the way he did it, but I'm glad that he announced this. I just wish that he would talk to his own people and let Kristi Noem in on the plan before doing it. Okay. What he did is equivalent to a coach coming up with a plan on a play and then not even letting the players know what the play is. Okay. That's equivalent to what he did. So Trump needs to plan things better. That's one of his flaws, where he doesn't actually talk to the relevant people before doing something. He just goes out half-cocked and announces things on social media without even checking with the people who are actually responsible for doing it. Again, he has no authority to do this, okay? Kristi Noem is the one who has the authority to revoke TPS. It's better to do it in an orderly manner so there isn't confusion for your own people, okay? So Trump needs to talk to people before he makes decisions, especially when he doesn't even control the final outcome, okay? If this doesn't happen, it ends up making him look real bad. That's another reason why you shouldn't do this stuff. Okay, you got to talk to the lawyers and make sure you're good with the law, and you got to talk to the person in charge and let them know before announcing what you want to do. But anyways, either way, I want it revoked. obviously. I want all these TPS programs terminated, so I'm very happy about this either way. And most likely, Kristi Noem will come out with a plan, official statement announcing that they're getting rid of the program very soon. And after it expires, they're all going away. Okay, ICE is going to be deporting all these people if they don't leave, but their protections are going to be revoked. So the Somalis better prepare and start packing their bags, the ones who are under TPS, because they're going to be shipped out of here, either willingly or by force. And that's all I got to say for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you guys all in my next video. Stay safe out there.